Hey everyone, Noah here with a different sort of video today. Last weekend, I took a trip to New Jersey where I met up with my good friend Steve the Weave. Together we hung out and drove to Edison for the Greenberg Train and Toy Show. I've been coming to this exact show since 2019, and every time I go there's always something new to see. Last year I was lucky enough to have an exhibit of my own where I had some of my Mad Bomber stuff on display, as well as a Tomy layout. I sadly wasn't able to get much footage of this particular show because I was so busy managing my display, but this time around I was able to get a lot more documentation to warrant its own video. Now, I've made videos about my trips to other Edison shows in the past, but those are mostly just slideshows of the pictures and videos I took during the visit with music in the background. This time I felt it was appropriate for me to actually tell you guys what happened on this trip, since there's quite a lot to talk about. So sit back and enjoy this recap of my trip to New Jersey. So this all came about when Steve the Weave messaged me saying that he was coming out to New York to attend a gaming convention close to where I live. Although Steve only lives one state away from me, there's a huge bustling city that separates us. This means we can't really see each other very often. Coincidentally, the same weekend, the Licensed Thomas exhibit Explore the Rails was on display at the nearby Long Island Children's Museum. Steve and I had gone to see the sim exhibit last year at the Liberty Science Center, and after I had gone back to his house for the first time. On top of that, we also knew that the Greenberg Train and Toy Show was also happening in Edison, New Jersey that same weekend, and a group of people in the Thomas fandom, NorthWesternModelers, would be exhibiting there. With all this in mind, we knew we had to meet up again and join in on the fun. The original plan was for Steve to go to his gaming convention on Saturday, and then the two of us would meet up at the Children's Museum to see the Explore the Rails exhibit, and then we would head back to his place where I would stay the night, and then the two of us would leave for Edison Sunday morning. However, we eventually decided that we would skip going to the Children's Museum because we realized that the Thomas exhibit would be exactly the same as it was last year. There's some cool stuff there, sure, but nothing we hadn't seen already. Instead, we met up at a hobby store that was so close by. We didn't actually purchase anything because we thought it was best to save the money we brought for the show the next day, since there would be a much greater selection of items there. After grabbing a quick bite to eat, we set off on the trip back to Steve's house. After what felt like forever sitting in bumper-to-bumper New Jersey traffic, we finally arrived. I had brought along some items from my own collection, and I took pictures of them next to Steve's. I then helped him build a layout, while he tested out some games he picked up at the convention. I also swapped out the drive unit on his Tomy Oliver with a Trackmaster Scarloey one. The old Tomy motor was worn out from use, and the Trackmaster one ran much better. Fortunately, the drive units were exactly the same. You're welcome, Steve. We also played some games on his Wii U, ran some of our HO models, and after a long day, we eventually called it a night and went to sleep. The next morning, we woke up bright and early and prepared to leave for Edison.
Yo, so it is the morning time. I got this piece of baggage here.
What?
I say that, but I'm the passenger in this car. So it is morning. What time is it? It's 9:22.
It is 9:22.
So we're 50 minutes away roughly, so we're probably gonna be a little bit late. But we're gonna get there, and we're gonna have a good time. So we will, yeah, hopefully. Probably won't die. So we'll send you some updates on the way. I'll see you guys later. Say something nice, funny, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
And we were off. But before we turned onto the highway, we had to make an important stop. We are making our first stop right
And
here.
all the parking spots are taken.
Oh, alright, well, we're gonna get some breakfast. Very essential.
Hey Steve, are you gonna use Sets Motorized Railway, huh? You gonna use Sets? You're gonna use Sets Motorized Railway? You know, Sets, they'll be so cool, you know? Because you have grass and trees and... Yeah, but no one cares about that, you know? Everyone only cares about your upcoming series that I'm co-writing, by the way. I'm actually writing the whole thing. Yeah, so Sets would be so cool because you got trees and grass and, you know, the sky in the background, you know?
Sure,
it would actually
man.
look good and not cheap like Joey Turner or
We're
fucking...
hardware.
Oh, shit. Oh, I should probably stop doing that. Alright, we'll see you guys there.
After about 50 minutes of driving, we arrived at the convention center.
Sorry, I conked out there for a sec. Oh shit, we're here.
We knew we wanted to locate the NorthWesternModelers group before anything else, and we soon did. There were so many tables this time around, but one of the most impressive ones was this Gauge 1 tip and sheds display by the LBSC Thomas.
Yeah, when I put Edison walk away to traffic. I have so much stuff. I barely, I mean, I mostly have photos. Yeah.
His own Gauge 1 replicas of the main characters were there too, along with an operating turntable. Right next to it was a Tomy display by this wonderful person. It's always a pleasure seeing a Tomy display amongst everything else. The colors are so vibrant and it makes for a very eye-catching display. Next to that was more Gauge 1 replicas of Salty, Fergus, Arthur, Flying Scotsman, and the Foreign Engine, or Big City Engine as some people call him. Arthur was definitely my favorite replica I saw that day. He was also made by the LBSC Thomas, and he again shows how wonderful their craftsmanship is. There was also a large wooden railway setup that was run by a bunch of people, including Yeem with goggles. The Northwestern Modelers have many consistent features to their setups, one being an HOOO layout. It was great fun seeing models from other users have a run around.
Look, it's episode 4. Right place. Yeah, and it's just like 10 years ago, about 10 years. Exactly. Golden time poster, I think it's not earlier. Okay. Because I want to sign.
After gawking at what the Thomas fandom had brought to the show, we ventured around to look at the other displays and vendors at the show. Unfortunately, since we had gone on Sunday, most of the vendors had been picked through, but we still managed to pick up some good items regardless. After walking around in circles a few times, we knew we were both satisfied and it was time to leave. I walked away with some really great items this time around. I found the early Trackmaster version of Cranky, this wooden railway yearbook from 2005, which I thought would be nice to have because that's my birth year, a Trust Thomas VHS from @MixTraffic206, aka Matt, thanks Matt, the Ertl Post Fan from Visionary Locomotive Works, Tommy Arthur and Trackmaster Splatter from Jolly Good Idea Films, and last but certainly not least, Flipface Toby and Flipface Talking Hero from Flying Scott Films, aka Dax. Originally, I had only purchased Toby from him, but when I saw he was selling Hero at the show, for much lower than the average resale price, I couldn't resist. Thanks so much for these two, Dax, you're awesome. I also got a signature from Yean. But that's not all. Steve was also kind enough to give me some items as well. He gave me the CGI Player L Thomas, which I ended up taking the face from to give to my LBSC Thomas, a Tommy Stepney that was in much better condition than my current one, a Trackmaster Lady, the Trackmaster 3D Face Scruffy to go along with the 3D Face Toad he'd given me last year, and a bunch of Ertls for me to use for my future model projects. While back at his place, we finished the Tommy layout, and I filmed a remake of the Railway series story Hello Twins, which I uploaded earlier this week.
Yes, go ahead. That's way too fucking far.
After all of that, it was time for me to head home. Upon arriving back home, I repaired the Tommy Arthur, he had a broken gear on his drive axle, and I even gave the Sodor Post Fan a little makeover to match the prop. Pretty neat. I also ran the other Trackmaster engines for a while. And that was my trip to New Jersey. I have to say, I had a wonderful time. It was so great hanging out with Steve again, and seeing everyone at the show is always an awesome experience. If you haven't already, please go and follow the Northwestern Modelers Twitter account to get caught up on where they might be heading to next, and better yet, join their Discord server. They're really close to 300 members, and it's a great way to connect with other fandom members. If you're curious about the Greenberg Train and Toy Show, I've left a link to their website down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.